Genevieve from Genevieve Morrone Yoga and Fitness Coaching. And today I wanted to hop in and chat a little bit about flexibility and how to get flexible. Big comment I get a lot of the time is, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible. Or I can't do those poses that I see you doing or that I see on Instagram. Well, let me just start with, you don't have to know how to do that stuff in order to gain flexibility. And one of the biggest myths that I come across all the time is people feel the need that they have to be flexible before they start yoga. But I want to just bust that out of the water, because that's why we do yoga, right? We do yoga so that we can become more mobile and flexible. That's the purpose of it. So if you're stiff and sore and kind of feel like the Tin Man from, what's that movie? I'm forgetting the name of the movie. You know the Tin Man I'm talking about. If you're feeling like him, then you need yoga. No other person needs it more than you do. So let's get into some of those tips, okay? Number one way to get more flexible is to warm up. So we never want to start anything, like even a workout or a yoga class, without warming up the joints, getting the synovial fluid flowing. We need to warm up. We need to do some pre-exercises to get the body moving, so that when you're working through your stretches, whether it's even just foam rolling or stretching, you've got the blood flowing. And like I said, that synovial fluid in between the joints and the joint capsules, that's the fluid that is very lubricating towards those joints. So we need to get all that stuff primed and ready in order to see optimal results from your flexibility. So some people really love stretching or doing yoga in a hot room. I think that has its place for some people, as long as you know your body and your limits. If you're too warm, then you do have the potential of kind of going in the other direction and overdoing it. So we want to make sure we're warm and primed for when we're stretching. And I mean this not just in a yoga sense, but even if you're stretching before or after a workout, to help to activate your muscles and then deactivate your muscles and lengthen them back out. Number two, this is one that I really believe in. So number one was, make sure you're warming up before you stretch. You'll find your range of motions a little bit better. Number two is practice later in the day. So because our bodies have been moving all day long and the blood's been flowing, we tend to naturally be more flexy later on in the day. So give yourself that time. If you have it, maybe do your yoga practice later in the day, or a short flow or stretching routine later on in the day when your body's already primed and warm, and you may find that you have a bit more range of motion that you can give. And then if you're constantly working through that, then you may notice quicker results through practicing later in the day. Number three, we hear it all the time, consistency. You have to be consistent with your stretching or yoga routines in order to see results. Our body will start to expand and start to lengthen those muscles, but if we quit, then everything just shortens back up. And it doesn't take long for that to happen. So that's where I'm always saying, like, even 5 or 10 minutes a day dedicated to stretching or a really quick yoga practice. I have tons of them on my YouTube channel. This will help propel you into gaining flexibility faster and maintaining it so that you can constantly move forward. But if you're only dedicating 1 or 2 days a week to a short yoga sequence or stretching practice, then you can't expect to see results. It will take much longer to do because you're always starting back at square one. So whatever little building blocks you can do each day to keep yourself consistent and moving forwards, I guarantee you will see massive results in your range of motion, in your pain reduction if you're struggling with pain, as well as in your workouts. So that's one of my biggest secrets is flexibility can really enhance your workouts. So you can be strong, but you can be flexible and strong as well. Just like you can be flexible, but if you don't have the strength behind it, then you're kind of setting yourself up for more prone for injury, I should say. And that's because the muscles don't have the support around the bones and the joints, the strength to really support those mobile moving parts within the body. So stay consistent, keep on track, practice every day, not just once or twice a week. Okay. Number 4, don't force it. So don't feel like you have to look like the instructor at the front of the room, or like the person beside you, or like the girl on Instagram who's doing this crazy back bend handstand thing. You don't have to force those things. If your body's not there yet, that's fine. And a lot of those poses you see on Instagram and in social media it's for aesthetic appeal, right? It's that wow factor, that impression. But it's not all real yoga. Okay, it's not all real yoga. The real yoga is led by your breath. So if you're stretching in a zone where you can still maintain your breath, then that's where you should be. But if you're forcing and gripping and pushing, then you're taking the yoga out of the stretching. You're actually creating more resistance on those muscles and joints, which will then just completely mitigate the effect of gaining flexibility. The only thing you'll be gaining there is resistance, and that will just make you more tight and stuck with what you're doing. So again, these are things that I work with my students with all the time in gaining flexibility. And that kind of leads me into the 5th point, which is have patience. Have patience. It takes time, right? It takes our whole lives to get all tight and stiff, that then we need to undo a lot of that work that we've put into our bodies, and it can take time. And that's where consistency is going to come into play. And that's where letting go of the ego really is brought to life. So you got to let go of the old stories that you have jammed up in your brain about how inflexible you are, how you can't do this, because the more you keep telling yourself that, the more your body's going to find ways to keep you stuck in that place. So just let go of it. Just take it day by day. We're training for life here. I say it all the time, right? So small little steps each day to keep you into a nice stretching routine. If you're not doing yoga yet, you should be. Everyone should be doing yoga. And if you're all one-sided on workouts, then I guarantee you, add in some yoga, you will see your practice skyrocket, as well as your fitness training. They both play hand in hand, and one should not be left without the other. So vice versa. If you only do yoga, I guarantee you, if you start some strength training or interval training, it will catapult your yoga practice. So it works both ways. Okay, so let's cover those 5 tips again. Number 1 was warm up. Make sure your muscles and joints are lubricated and primed before you're heading into stretching. It also helps to prevent injury. Number 2, practice later in the day. Take a note of how you feel practicing or stretching first thing in the morning versus how you feel doing it at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. And just take note of that to begin with, and then work with whatever works for your body the best. See what feels best in your body. Number 3 is consistency. We have to practice daily if we want to see results and gains. There's no way around it. Practicing for 2 hours on Sunday is not going to get you there any faster than, actually it will take longer than even if you practice for 5 or 10 minutes a day, each and every day, which sounds a little more achievable anyway, right? Number 4 is don't force it. So the more we resist by forcing, the more tight and locked up we will become. And then it's going to take even longer to unwind those processes. And that kind of leads into step 5, which is have patience and leave your stories and ego at the door. Don't think about where you're at, or how tight, or how I can't even touch my toes, those types of things. They don't serve you, and they won't serve you. So flip that mindset around and think of it as you're training for the long haul, and you're starting now. So these are all things that I direct and cue in my yoga classes. Again, go check out my YouTube channel. I've got a ton of yoga videos on there that will lead you and direct you into gaining flexibility. Any yoga will help with flexibility. So any class that you choose to do by any instructor, as long as it got good cues and good alignment for form, then any yoga will get you more flexible. No matter how tight you are, it's not too late. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into these topics with my email subscribers. So if you're not yet on my email list, please click the link in the comments to get on it. I send out a weekly newsletter every Saturday morning. So some easy reading for when you're waking up, having your coffee or your tea, sitting on the deck in the sun because summer's here. So make sure you're on that list so you get all the details and you don't miss out. And until next week, make sure you're dropping any comments or questions below, and I'll catch you later. Bye.